Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Vanilla Heroes. Today we come back after some disturbing news last episode of Vanilla Heroes shutting down. I still haven't heard much. It's been about a day since I posted the video, and not too much on the front of advice on what to do, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys what we have gotten done. This is what I've been up to for the past few days. If you guys remember, over here was Basics Island that we visited once before in a previous episode, and let's see if we can get over here. Yep, that's right, the mountain's back. We have done some technical wizardry thanks to the wonderful Python from the Hermitcraft server. He has a beautiful video on actually how to trim old chunks out of existence, and without him there's no way I would have been able to do this, so I'm incredibly grateful for finding that. What we did decide to keep in the overworld, we kept it simple. We do still have the Guardian farm, and we do still have our iron farm. And I'm curious because I was actually doing some flying around when checking this out, and yeah, we have iron golems spawning in spots where they shouldn't. And I'm assuming that's just because it's broken at the moment. Once I set it to start rebuilding, it'll be okay. But yeah, we've been busy. And then what else was there? We reset the end. I still need to do a little bit of cleanup there, but I think it's worth going ahead and showing to you guys. So, oh wow, you can tell how much I've been AFK. They oh, wow. Alright, so this is the tunnel that did used to lead to our Ender. And, of course, it's not fully cleaned up. I'll definitely have to do that later on. We can probably just get rid of the supplies, but we can probably keep the iron, because the person who was working on this was actually taking the iron from our iron farm. But, as you can tell, it comes to an abrupt end, and the Ender is no more. We also have cleaned up everything, but we did not lose our portals, and aside from that, everything's reset, so it should be good for some shulker hunting, which is a bonus, but a bit unfortunate of a precursor. And then the most work that I have put into this change has to be in the Nether. There was a lot to clean up, and there was something that I wanted to get done. That's right, guys. I have successfully moved the Nether hub that we constructed all the way over to here, which was a huge feat in itself. Like, I didn't think it would be this hard. And, ow. Alright, let's just walk. I didn't think that it would be this hard to move such a structure, but there was a lot of work that went into it. So, with that out of the way, that's all caught up. We moved this, and we kept the Wither Skeleton farm. I believe the Wither Skelly farm is back here. So, end of this tunnel will bring us straight there. Only one turn. I think that's pretty impressive. And the bonus is we still have the bug hole up top, so I'll be doing some work in here in some future episodes, because now that it's completely mine, we're going to play around with it. So, let's get to the meat of the episode. Last episode, we discussed what we were going to actually be doing with the central area, and I think I have a pretty good idea of it. But I'm not going to say too much, because I don't want to spoil it. This one's actually something that I had a lot of fun with. I couldn't do too much research on it, but I'm pretty happy with the design that we've come up with. And then as for what I want to accomplish with this episode, I feel like we're going to keep it pretty grindy. I want to go ahead and get as much done as possible. And that being said, I want to get the walls up all the way around. I want to start working on the 4 pillars, and then if we can fly up here and check it out, I want to flatten this out. I think We can get away with lighting some of these mountains up. I don't think we actually have to destroy the mountains entirely. But all these small little islands, I want to go ahead and flatten out, get it to where nothing can spawn on it, and try to make this what it is. And worst case scenario, how do you guys feel about TNT duping? Because flattening this would be quite the hassle, but a World Eater might be able to take it out pretty fast. So let's put that one on the back burner. For now, I want to go ahead and start working on the platform down here and get it all kind of prepped up for adding a monument on top of it. So to get things started on the right foot, what I think needs to happen is we made this structure here a bit too blocky. And what I want to go ahead and do is give it some roundness. So by taking all of this away, we'll start to expose some of the redstone, but I've got an idea of how we can actually start to kind of clean that up a bit. Oh yeah, that feels a lot better. Alright, so the thought that I'm having now that we have that up is to actually make a straight edge pillar that I was just bashing a second ago. And start it probably like right around here. Not with that block though. Thinking if we start it right here, and then we go 2, 2. No, let's start it here. And go 2, 2. 3 here. That should give us enough room to actually build the monument that I have in mind. So if we do that all the way around, and then I'm thinking 3 high, but let's not do the top rim out of stone brick. So for this rim, I'm feeling chiseled stone at the forefront of each of the 3 sides, and then for the rest of it going with some polished andesite just to give a solid trim. That way you know that this is where it ends. And the bonus to it is that polished andesite really doesn't blend in with anything, and it's a very pop out block. So let's give this a little fly around and see how that looks. Okay, it's not popping out too much. Let's get down here. Yeah, I like that a lot. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and hop into a time lapse real quick, and then we'll discuss the monument afterwards. That's right, guys. We have made ourselves our own personal silverfish deity. For, as Decory used to call this place, Dive's House of Silverfish. That you would be pretty much in shock if you saw how much research had to go into making this, because it's what's the name of it? It almost has this feel of the Pokemon Zygarde, but I wanted to give all of the portions of a silverfish without it laying flat, which was really hard to find anything in regards to. And a lot of things used solid blocks to reference all of the stuff on its back, but I felt like glass actually manifested it a little bit better just because they're not always visible from every angle. And Yeah, I'm so happy with this thing. This is probably one of the first big monuments that I came up with solely on my own, and the fact that there really isn't anything like this makes me extremely happy. But let's get on with it. The other things that we need to get done today is I need to go ahead and sand back up these two walls so the water isn't there. I need to go ahead and stone brick up all of these walls so nothing's visible from the outside, and we need to go ahead and flatten that. So let's go ahead and hop into another time lapse. Alright guys, what do you think? Our cube in the middle of the ocean just suddenly got a whole lot more in the middle of the ocean without that, all of the land masses around us. But this is going to set us up for a pretty good spot. The future of this base, now that we're finally actually finishing up the center area a little bit, there's still a whole lot of work that we can do, but it's getting somewhere that I'm feeling a little bit more happy with it. I mean, I'm thinking that we need about a 5 deep area for a decent sized wall. Then go inside, I'm thinking about 25 blocks wide. I was thinking about just expanding it another 50, but I think that's going to be a bit too much. Let me know what you guys think about that. Other things that I've been kind of floating around on is I did try to play around with pillar designs because I do want 4 pillars in each corner. And I don't think this is too big of a size. Actually, I do think this is too big of a size. It doesn't really fit the scale of this thing. And if we go back up above, I think we'll get a better idea of what we're looking at. It's not too huge, but it's not great at the same time. We also managed to get ourselves rescue a couple of animals. Now, all I think we need as far as a meat supply goes is going to be rabbits. So I'm pretty happy with this. I pinned them up for the time being, but this will not be their permanent home. And from that point, we finished everything that I had planned for today. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to cut it because, well, otherwise this would be quite a short episode. So I think what I'm going to do instead is focus on a project that I've been avoiding, which is ripping out this stone, and I've got an idea of how to make this look a little bit better and a little less symmetrical. There you guys have it. That is a lot of cobblestone, and we're going to need a lot more cobblestone than I have for this build, so I see a future farm coming into the mix, but I'm kind of disappointed because I put this in. One, that slope isn't nearly enough. I need to figure out a way to make that slope work a little bit better, but we'll come up with something. But I finished this, and I decided to do the generic go through Twitter, comment on people's stuff, see what happens. And Dinnerbone had a tweet out, which is slightly upsetting, but also completely magical. So what's happening is he didn't verify what update it is, so we're not going to know for some time if this is coming out in 1.14 or if it's going to be even further down the line, 1.15, 1.16. But he confirmed that they're making stone stairs finally. So the whole reason for this was so that we could have some curvature to this. And with that update, if 1.14 comes out, we're probably going to have to switch this back because that's going to look 100 times better. But he also said something that has me concerned, and I don't know how we're going to deal with it just yet. Apparently, they're working on over 40 different stair and slab variations, and we didn't build this storage unit to be expanded. So we might be looking at having to put storage in these corners and all sorts of stuff in the future, because this space was meant to be 1.13. Vanilla Heroes was meant to reset at the beginning of each season, and now we've got to think about it on the long term. This is a permanent home. But with all that said, today has been a very grindy episode, and to be fair, every now and then we need grindy episodes like this. We need to get rid of the small projects that are going to set us up for big things. And I think that's going to be this episode. So I've got one more really, really big project in the mix that I want to go ahead and knock out. And I think it's going to open up some gates. So I'm going to hop into a time lapse for this, and it is going to be magical. As you can tell, we ended up back in the desert because we ran out of sand, which I really didn't think would be happening this early into the season, but it better not happen again because we have absolutely decimated this place. So we came here in the intent of filling up two double chests full of shulker boxes full of sand, and I'd say we've come rather close. This one's completely full. This one's full up to here, and then these three are full and a little bit of change. So overall, pretty huge success. Now, I could stay and get that done, but I've already been here for the good portion of half a day. So I'm going to head back to the base, and then I've got an idea that I want to show you guys. So you guys remember how I was showing you that using a note block triggers an observer, like when you just do that sort of deal? Well, it seems that that's not the only time that that's relevant. So Cass over at Myzuma Games made this discovery not too long ago, that it can also pick up when a block gets placed below it, which is actually really cool. Let's see if we can get this to work right. Come on. So what it does is, if you put a piston here and a piece of dust there, whenever you place a block, it automatically pushes it. Now, that's no big deal, but look at the rate of it. That is awesome. So, what my thought is what if we pair up a few of these all together? So if I put, let's start off with 2, because I can't imagine that we're going to need more than 2. Or that we'll need more than 2 just for the first time. So let's hop up here. And then get the observers out the back. Something like that. Boom, boom, boom. And now I do have a worry about putting them all up next to each other like this. I feel like it's going to cause a lot of piston updates and potentially some breakage. But we'll see. So if we do that. Okay, so it does cause some breakage. What if instead we got rid of these, right? And then we do, what's the push limit? 11 or 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then do the same thing that we did, except for do it back here. And instead only have it pick up once it reaches the end. Let's give that a go. So I can't figure out a way to make them relay together. So what I think I'm going to do is just go ahead and make a giant line of them and go till one finishes, break the note block, keep going, that sort of deal. And we should be pretty much set to go. So let me get that set up real quick and we'll see how that works out for us. Okay, so I figured out what the problem was, and it doesn't look like it's actually anything that we could have solved in the first place. I've been playing around with a couple of different things. This was the original design. I used it in a cube maker that I was using before, and it worked perfectly fine. And then I also went over to this design, which was, I think this is actually Cass's original design, because I know I saw Il Mango feature it. But it seems what the problem becomes is when a sand block tries to fall, but then it can't, it updates. Because if I go slow, like this, and this is still fairly fast, you're not really going to run into an issue. It does pretty well. So, finished. Beautiful. But if we come over to here where there's a small gap and we do the hold down, right there, where it reaches the point that it tries to fall, that's when it fails. So it looks like the only option we really have is just to take our time, and eventually we'll get done. It's still going to be faster than setting in all the blocks anyways, so I'm not too incredibly worried about it. But I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. We're going to hop into a time lapse, and we're going to get this thing filled in with sand. Well, we got a quarter done. So some things came up, as you probably noticed. I need to put a bed down. Bed. Sleep? Can I sleep, please? This isn't lit up. I need to sleep. There we go. We've been at this for a bit. So here's the deal. These did not work nearly as well as I was hoping for, just because the gravity aspect of them really hindered the ability for these to work out as good as they did. And inside this batch here, there's wasted sand like halfway through, so it's still transparent, so a block caught it in the middle. It's a big mess, but in order to actually make it work, I had to actually put a clock on top of it, and it wasn't worth it. So I ended up switching over, going back to the old checkerboard grid pattern thing, because I felt like it was just as fast. And this section, which is arguably probably the easiest one, because I'd say at least half of it was only one high and the rest was deep like this, took 5 hours. Yeah, let that sink in. 5 hours just for this little section. So why did I take on this huge project? Well, we already started it, so we might as well finish it. But I'd be willing to bet that this is probably going to take me about another day, 2 days to get the sand put in. So this might take a bit. Well, let's get back to it. Of course it's turning night. Why wouldn't it be turning night when I start to record? Stupid game. Well, we are back, and it has been a little bit since I last recorded, just because I went ahead and started editing it, and that took a lot of time. There were a lot of clips in that I had to end up taking breaks. I broke my mouse. There's a whole long story behind that. But we did it. And we did it We did it with a lot of shulker boxes. So here's the deal. We made it to about here before we ran through our entire double shulker box, or double chests of shulker boxes. So we had to go back. We got ourselves some more sand. We finished this project, and it took us, I would say, close to 40 hours between this, gathering the sand, and the whole project in itself, which ended up being a lot more than I intended to bite off with this. But we're done. Like, to be fair, with starting my job this coming up week, I don't think I could have actually handled doing that and producing a quality episode during working. So I think it's a really good thing that we got this done. We'll probably clear out the sand next episode so it starts to become helpful to us again, because sand, glass, beautiful things, we're going to need it to happen. But overall, I feel like this was an accomplishing episode. I mean, I know you guys probably don't like seeing an entire 30-minute episode of time lapses, but progress is progress, and when you see projects like that get done, it makes me happy because I don't have to deal with it again. So just to cover things, we got ourselves our own deity. That's fantastic. We got a lot of the little small jobs done, and we got the biggest job of them all done. Holy cow. I don't think there's much more that I can say to that. So, I'm sorry for the flickeriness of the time lapse. There's really not too much I can do with it aside from turning off the daylight cycle, which kind of ruins the survival aspect of it. So, I'm going to have to play around with that. And I'm also sorry that it was so static. It's a bit of a pain seeing as Replay Mod hasn't come out yet, so I can definitely promise you guys Replay Mod will be making some features in our episodes as soon as it starts being available for 1.13. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, and if you really enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe. We're going to have so many big projects coming up with this being done, and I don't want you guys to miss it. Thank you guys for making it to the very end of the video, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Catch you guys in the next one.